Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you are all well on this Monday. That's it. It's Monday. I know some of you don't like it when I tell you what day of the week it is, and a lot of the time I even get it wrong. But look, there's some people out there who want me to do it. So I'm kind of trying to balance the book slightly. But anyway, you're looking absolutely amazing for a Monday, and I hope the week is good to you. So we can come back at the end of the week and see just how amazing you still look. But anyway, thank you for joining me on this wonderful Monday morning. And we're going to be talking about something that I spoke about in the live last night. Thank you for those of you who joined me. I know not everyone can stomach lives. And to be honest, I can't stomach lives. My live is rarely the only live that I rarely get involved in. I do look at some others briefly, but it's that thing, isn't it? Time is precious. But anyway, we're going to touch on something, and that is looking at things like prosecutorial misconduct and how people end up in positions where they can find themselves indeed wrongfully convicted, and whether that looks like there's a potential that in terms of the Idaho 4 case, Bryan Kohberger could indeed be in the situation that he's in because of an amalgamation of these problems. So we have a look. I know you can't wait. We're only 1 minute in as well. Why do wrongful convictions happen? And again, some of you who was in the live last night, you'll be familiar with this. I apologise. By studying cases where individuals have been exonerated, we have been able to identify the main factors that contribute to wrongful convictions. At KWIP, I'm going to call it KWIP, we see these factors often in combination in the many applications that arrive in our mailbox from prisoners seeking our help. The leading factors in wrongful convictions are eyewitness misidentification, false confessions, police and prosecutorial misconduct, flawed forensic evidence, and perjured testimony. So we have a look at the most important ones. So it's looking at eyewitness misidentification, okay? So eyewitness misidentification is one of the most common factors in cases of wrongful convictions. Nationally, 28% of all exonerations involve mistaken eyewitness identification. Social science research demonstrates that human memory is highly imperfect and fragile. When people experience a stressful event like a crime, they're much less able to make an accurate identification. Witnesses are even less accurate when they attempt to identify someone of another race. Additionally, lineups and photo arrays can be suggestive and lead a witness to pick the wrong person. This can happen when the suspect is the only person in an array who closely matches the description of the offender. So again, manipulation there. Police officers can also influence the process by how they interact with the witness during the identification procedure. A police officer's comments, body language, and positive feedback can steer the witness towards a particular suspect and then inflate the witness's confidence in their identification. Despite study after study proving the unreliability of eyewitness identification, it is extremely persuasive evidence when a crime victim points to the defendant in the courtroom and says with certainty, "That is the person who did this crime." They're unlikely to reject that testimony. And look, we've got Dylan Mortensen, who's been able to say she saw someone clad in black with a mask on, bushy eyebrows. Now, you could say that at some point they're going to point this out in the courtroom, aren't they? They're going to try and put Bryan Kohberger as this person. It personifies that element of the case. And you've got a person, rather than saying, well, we don't know who did it. We didn't see anyone. There was no witnesses, no nothing. So you have to ask yourself in terms of Dylan Mortensen, what did she see? Did she truly see anything whatsoever? Or was this a situation that law enforcement leveraged because of the situation that the survivors placed themselves in? Maybe one of the girls had turned around and said they weren't going to be involved in it. Bethany Funk, for instance, I don't want no part of it, but if that's what you want to do, that's your lookout. And perhaps that's the exculpatory evidence. Maybe someone's caught wind of this, that they were leveraged upon, and Bethany Funk walked away. And that was, in fact, what her experience was that was just her experience. It was something that was personal to herself. Remember that statement being said. Did law enforcement try to lean on her, and did she turn it down? Interesting thoughts. Let me know down below. Answers on a postcard, please. And it's got a little thing there, which I'm not going to go through that because this is the short version. False confessions. We don't need to look at false confessions there. Police and prosecutorial misconduct. Official misconduct by police officers, prosecutors, or other government officials has been present in 54%. That's over half of wrongful convictions across the nation, because criminal cases have many different stages. Official misconduct can occur in numerous ways. At the investigation stage, police engaged in misconduct when they deliberately use suggestion in an identification procedure, coerce a witness to implicate a suspect, fabricate physical evidence, or use improper interrogation techniques, Chris McDonough, to secure confession. At the trial stage, prosecutors corrupt the process when they conceal exculpatory evidence. So this single section here encapsulates the entire situation that we see in the Idaho 4 case, potentially. And again, let me know down below what you think. Answers on a postcard, please. Swiftly moving on. I'm gonna read this. This is the short version. False and or misleading forensic evidence. False or misleading forensic evidence has been a contributing factor in 24% of exoneration cases across the country. Most forensic disciplines were developed within law enforcement and have not been subject to the kind of rigorous testing normally conducted to validate a scientific theory. As the forensic scientists have come under greater scrutiny, some disciplines, including bite mark analysis and microscopic hair comparison, have been exposed as nothing more than junk science. Even in more reliable disciplines, experts often overstate their results. Quintillions. Anyway, that was like a tick. That was. So sorry, lost my train of thought there. Has been exposed nothing more than junk. Even in more reliable disciplines, experts often overstate their results and fail to acknowledge the limitations or error rate of a particular forensic technique. Finally, like everyone, forensic practitioners can make mistakes, including mixing up samples or contaminating specimens. In some cases, forensic analysis have fabricated results, hidden exculpatory evidence, or reported results when testing had not even been conducted. And there's another one here, which I'm not going to go into. Again, short version. This would be a lot shorter if I didn't keep saying short version. Witness perjury. False accusation or perjury is the most common feature of wrongful convictions and has been a factor in 60% of documented exonerations. Most often, witnesses lie because they receive some benefit for testifying. Can you think of anyone who might have... Because we think in the background there could potentially be a witness here. Remember, Steve... approaching FBI, just leave it. Now, we could be wrong, but we have been led to consider the fact that there could be an eyewitness, Emma or Demetrius. Most often, witnesses lie because they receive some benefit. For example, a person in jail facing criminal charges can secure a favourable plea bargain, dismissal of their own charges. Emma and Demetrius. Special privileges in jail, or even, where am I going with this? Or even money by offering damning evidence against a fellow inmate. The benefits create a strong incentive to lie. In many wrongful convictions, defendants were not given key information related to the credibility of the incentivised witnesses who testified against them, including the exact benefits received, the witness's history or cooperating in cases, and the witness's criminal history. Now, I'm not going to go through that because this is just a short version. But let's look at it like this way. We know, because we're smart, that the fact that it took the surviving roommate so long to call 911, whether you like it or not, head in the sand, up your ass, whatever, that was a felony. Now, can you imagine if law enforcement said that was a felony, what you did? We could pull you up now for not reporting a crime. And how do you think that's going to look? That you took this long. How do you think that's going to look? And what with us charging you as well, that's going to be bad. But look, we can forget that. We can forget it. And look, I'm not saying this is what happened. What I'm saying is this, what we've just read here together, proves beyond a reasonable doubt that these things happen. Prosecutorial misconduct is a thing. Fabricating evidence, physical evidence, is a thing. Coercing witnesses is a thing. Now, in the Idaho 4 case, it could be cut and dry. But what I will say is, I've not seen enough for me to say, do you know what, this is cut and dry. There's a lot missing, a lot of holes. And a lot of us believe that the PCA contained pretty much everything they had. They just tried to embellish. They had to try and make it look like it was a lot more than what it truly was. Again, get a clue. He spoke about this. And I know get a clue isn't everyone's cup of tea, but ignore some of these things and listen to what he is telling you. Because a lot of what he says makes a huge amount of sense. You can't turn round and say that the PCA only contains what they needed to contain in it, and they've held some on the back burner because it suits you. Because in reality, they extrapolated on a lot of information within that to, again, embellish it when they didn't have to. And I believe that was because they simply didn't have enough. So they bolstered it out. They made it, you know, look a lot bigger than what it was. Let me know down below what you think. Does this further fuel the flames that Bryan Kohberger could indeed be in a position of being wrongfully convicted? And is that why we shouldn't be so quick to judge and in fact demand answers, demand to see everything, so at the end of it, we're happy with the result and know it's the right one? Let me know down below, and I'll catch you all in video 2 later.